Legendary investor Warren Buffett made some major changes in his Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. According to his latest 13F filing, he sold 86% of one of his top 10 largest holdings. But that's not all he sold. He sold 7 more stocks, cutting 2 of them by more than 50% as well. In today's video, we go over all the major changes to his portfolio, when he started selling these stocks, and how much he's still holding on to. We'll also go over the 3 stocks he bought when blood was running on Wall Street. To keep updated, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be amongst the first to know when more investment inspiration videos are available. On February 14th, Warren Buffett gave us a Valentine's Day present, and through the research we did, reading through his latest 13F regulatory filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, we've got the scoop on the stocks that Warren Buffett sold and bought at the end of 2022. So let's dive right on in. Starting off our list, the position that had the smallest change, we have Kroger, ticker symbol KR. Warren Buffett began buying Kroger in December of 2019, when Kroger was trading for below 10 times its PE ratio and near its 52-week low. Kroger, the United States' largest retail grocery store, has over 2,700 retail sales locations and caters to the higher income earners with beautiful and clean stores. With valuable grocery and gas membership programs, this retail giant only charges about 8% higher prices than the retail giant Walmart. Now, since Warren began buying Kroger, the share price has risen about 55%. In addition to that, it has also been paying a pretty nice dividend along the way. However, Warren Buffett began trimming his position in Kroger at the end of 2021, though ever so slowly, decreasing his position from 61.7 million shares down to 50 million shares by the end of 2022, with his latest decrease of 268,823 shares, decreasing his total holdings by about 0.53%. Currently, Kroger is about 0.745% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. Next on our list, we have Ally Bank, ticker symbol ALLY. Warren Buffett began buying Ally Financial in March of 2022. This was a very classic Buffett play. The stock was cheap at the time, trading about 110% of its tangible book value, which is essentially a bank's net worth. Also, it was trading for just about 5.2 times its forward earnings. These heavy discounts were due to the surrounding economical environment and not the company's business model or the business markets. Since Warren began buying Ally Financial, the share price has fallen about 20%, but at the time of his sale, Ally's shares were down over 40%, which actually shows his continued conviction, seeing he only cut his 30 million share position by 200,000 shares at the end of 2022, which represents a 0.67% decrease in his total position. Currently, Ally Financial is about 0.243% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway position. Next on our list, we have Chevron Corp, ticker symbol CVX. Warren Buffett began buying Chevron in September of 2020. At the time, Buffett had sold off a majority of his airline stocks, and many were fearful in the energy sector as demand for travel had halted and supply chains were backed up due to COVID-19. Warren was able to pick up Chevron shares at low valuations. At the time, many questioned Warren's bet on oil and gas, but with Chevron up almost 150% since his initial purchase in September, it looks like he put his money to work at the right place at the right time. Although Warren did cut his massive 165 million share position slightly by 2.3 million shares at the end of 2022, a small 1.44% decrease. Currently, Chevron Corp is about 9.78% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, the third largest position. Next on our list, we have Mckesson Corp, ticker symbol MCK. Warren Buffett began buying Mckesson Corporation in March of 2022. Mckesson Corp is a very large player in the healthcare space. With annual sales just around $270 billion, it's actually one of the world's largest companies that you've probably never heard of. Mckesson gained its competitive advantage by being able to survive in a business with razor-thin margins. Having started in the 1800s, they've mastered the game of being the middleman in buying and selling in the pharmaceutical world. When Buffett bought these shares, they were trading for about 12.5 times forward earnings. Since then, Mckesson Corp has been up 121%. And at the end of 2022, Warren cut his 3.2 million share position slightly by 342,000 shares, a 10.72% decrease. Currently, Mckesson Corp is about 0.3582% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. Next on our list, we have a little bit of Buffett arbitrage with the play he had on Activision Blizzard, ticker symbol ATVI. Warren Buffett began buying Activision in December of 2021. Activision is currently looking to be acquired by Microsoft, but is still in the legal process. Warren hoped to buy them below the acquisition price and be paid out when the deal went through. Unfortunately, the deal, which has been dragging on for more than 2 years now, looks no closer to being closed than it was when Buffett bought his initial 14 million shares in 2021. Since Buffett began buying Activision, their share price has fallen about 10%. Warren cut his 60 million share position by about 7.4 million shares at the end of 2022, a 12.35% decrease. Currently, Activision is about 1.3496% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. The next 3 names on our list are stocks that Warren Buffett cut by more than half, selling a rather large chunk of the position, signaling that something he sees in the company may be changing. Coming in at number 3, we have the Bank of New York Mellon Corp, ticker symbol BK. Warren Buffett began buying the Bank of New York Mellon Corp in June of 2013, nearly a decade ago. Since then, he has increased his position from about 24 million shares to just over 80 million at the end of 2019. Since then, something definitely changed, as within the last 2 filings, Berkshire Hathaway decreased its holdings of BK from 72 million to 25 million shares just over those 2 periods, with the most recent cut at the end of 2022 being a 59.7% decrease. Currently, the Bank of New York Mellon is about 0.3817% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. Next on our list, and another huge red flag, we have Taiwan Semiconductors, ticker symbol TSM. Warren Buffett just began buying the Taiwan chipmaker in September of 2022, not more than 3 months before the position was sold. Over those 3 months, the stock rallied about 9%. Nonetheless, Buffett still sold 51 million of his 60 million shares at the end of 2022. Very uncharacteristic of this historically long-term investor. With this very large liquidation at the end of 2022, it represents an 86.19% decrease in his total TSM position. Currently, Taiwan Semiconductors is about a 0.2066% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, a far cry from being one of the top 10 holdings just last year. Next on our list, and the biggest cut in Warren Buffett's portfolio for 2022, we have US Bancorp, ticker symbol USB. Warren Buffett began buying US Bancorp the same time as Bank of New York Mellon in June of 2013, except in much larger quantities. His initial investment in 2013 in USB was $2.8 billion compared to Bank of New York Mellon of just $690 million. USB also at one time was over 3% of the total weight of Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio, which would bring it into the top 10 holdings, a rather great achievement for any one company. Since June of 2020 though, he has been decreasing his holdings of USB and in the last two filings, taking out large chunks, bringing the total shares down from 119 million to 77 million, down now to just 6.6 million shares at the latest filing. With that most recent cut at the end of 2020, that represents a 91.42% decrease. Currently, US Bancorp is about 0.097% of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. As mentioned earlier, that's not all he did. There were 3 stocks he bought at the end of 2022. Stocks that, while everyone was fearful, Warren took out some of his valuable cash and bought some more. Starting off with the smallest percentage increase first, we have Apple, ticker symbol AAPL. While this may be the smallest increase, it is the largest notional value increase as Apple is his largest position. In 2022, Warren increased his Apple position by 333,856 shares. Warren was a late adapter when it came to the iPhone and Apple movement and didn't begin investing in Apple until March of 2016. Since then, Apple has had a 464% price appreciation. Warren has increased his 894 million share stake to about 895 million shares, resembling a 0.04% increase, making up just about 38.89% of his entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. His number one position. Next on our list, we have Paramount Global, ticker symbol PARA. Warren began buying Paramount Global in March of 2022. As the only streaming media stock that pays a reliable dividend, Paramount Global's streaming service Paramount Plus is home to many shows like Star Trek and Criminal Minds. Warren added 2.4 million shares at the end of 2022, increasing his total shares in Paramount to 93 million, a 2.65% increase. Paramount represents a 0.5286% allocation in the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. Next on our list, we have Louisiana-Pacific Corporation, ticker symbol LPX. This is another relatively new purchase for Warren, who began buying LPX in September of 2022. LPX is a building material stock and was trading for 4 times trailing earnings and 12 times next year's earnings. But with the housing markets still looking for further decline, many say it might still be early in the buying cycle for this stock. Either way, LPX is about 20% up since Berkshire added it to their portfolio in September of 2022. And at the end of 2022, Berkshire added an additional 1.249 million shares of LPX, a 21.55% increase. LPX represents a 0.1395% allocation in the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. If you want to know where Warren Buffett puts most of his money, be sure to check this next list of the top 5 dividend stocks that Warren Buffett owns.